not fair. I gave you my love, but you don't care. So what is right and what is wrong? Give me a sign. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What's love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What's love? What's love? Oh, I don't know. What can I do? What else can I say? It's up to you. I know we're one, just me and you. I can't go on. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? What is love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What's love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What's love? What's love? I want no other lover. This is our life, our time. If we are together, I need you forever. Is it love? What is love? What's love? What is love? Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. You're chilling in the rain. You're some kind.
Muy buenas mis queridísimos amigos, gordacos y gordacas, ¿qué tal estáis? Bienvenidos una tarde más al canal de José Fantasía 8 Gamer. Vamos a continuar y a ver si le damos ya posible final a este tal Sofarais que he visto en... Está mirando la historia en internet y parece que nos queda ya poquita cosa. Creo que acabo de tocar sin querer en la capturadora, espero que no se haya quedado pillada, porque entonces se me va a ir directo. He tocado sin querer el cable, porque se ha escuchado plinning. Vamos a ver ahora si no tengo que volver a hacer directo. Ahora lo miraré a ver. Esperamos que lo pueda solventar sin tener que sin que se caiga el directo. Así que nada, bienvenidos a todos y a todas. Gracias por esos likes. Si veis que se me queda pillado, si me cae el directo, lo volveré otra vez a programar, no pasa nada. Buenas, Dita, bienvenida y bienvenidos a los que estéis por ahí. Así que voy a pasar directamente a ver qué es lo que le pasa a la capturadora. Voy a mirarlo a ver. A ver. Sí, se acaba de pillar. Veremos a ver. Sí, se acaba de pillar. Tengo que eliminarle, volver a ponerla, tío. Esperamos que me deje. No se quede pillado esto. Vamos a ver. Es que toca sin caer el cable, tío. Como no toca el cable. Mira que lo sabía, tío. Mira que lo sabía. Esto tiene más mala follada, tío. Esto tiene más mala follada la polla de la capturadora, tío. A ver, voy a desconectarle y ahora voy a ponerla otra vez a ver si no se queda esto pillado. Voy a probar a ver. Es que el problema es eso, que como se me quede pillada con el OBS ya empieza a volverse esto loco. Que vas que no sale, tío. Joder, tío, qué coñazos, viejos, de verdad. A veces compaco la polla capturadora y los programas su puta nación entera. Ahí parece que sale ahora. Vale. Dime que va. Vale, que no se nos va a caer directo. Bien. Vale, lo ponemos por aquí. No me vaya ahora mismo, ahora me va a ir dentro de nada. Ahí. Vale, parece que se ha quedado. Parece que va todo bien. Vamos a refrescarla. Vale. Bien. Eso así me gusta, tío. Que no tenga que poner, que no se me caiga el directo. Que la otra vez se me quedaba pillada la mierda esta. Bueno, chicos, pues parece que no se nos vaya el directo. Así que bienvenidos a todos y a todas al canal. Y... Buenas, María, guapísima. Así que nada, vamos a poner todo esto, cámara. Ponemos todas las vocecitas del canal. Que por cierto, tengo que mirar también que ya me han pasado lo del chatbot ese para que vosotros mismos podáis poner las vocecitas en el canal. Y tengo que echarle un vistazo a ver que también va para Twitch. Y creo que funciona aquí en YouTube también. A ver qué tal va. Y bueno, vamos a ver si le damos a este tal Sofarais ya el final que se merece ya. Y nos vamos ya con otros juegos que ya va tocando. Vamos a poner las vocecitas. A dar la bienvenida a todos y a todas.
Mis queridos amigos gordacos y gordacas, bienvenidos.
Vale, creo que me escucháis bien. Creo que escucháis la capturadora bien. Así que nada, vamos a darle cañita. Nos ponemos los cascos. Y vamos a ver si nos podemos pasar el juego. Dale ya al final que se merece ya. La intro la pasaré, ¿vale? Porque tiene copy. Aunque es una pedazo de intro, pero tiene copy. Y vamos a continuar, que nos queda poco. Nos queda la fase de la nave y la parte final de Rena. Y se acabó el juego. Y he visto que nos tenemos que enfrentar a 3 boss finales. Así que voy a tener que comprar muchas pociones y cosas así. Porque el final siente ser complicadete. Vale. Quedamos aquí la llamada empezó a la zona. Oh, no me jodas que me va a dar ahora hipo, tío.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
No tengo agua, tío.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dahna, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dahna. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars.
Por cierto, quería darle la bienvenida a alguien que se ha suscrito, no me acuerdo de su nombre, somos ya 730, se agradece a toda esa gente que habéis suscrito.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here? That beam of light joining Dahna and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Dahnan side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dahna's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing. So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
Vale, pues supongo que tenemos que bajar por este ascensor, ¿no? Bueno, nivel inferior, superior. No es posible hacer esta planta. Vale, ¿y puedo subir a la superior? Vale, pues, o sea que tengo que ir aquí por cojones. Vale, aquí no parece nada. Pues nada, vamos para adelante como lo del Sí, está muy chulo el traje ese que lleva, sí. Me gustan muchísimo los atuendos de Shionne.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
Sí, ya te he dicho que es un juegazo este juego. Lo único que le falta es el audio en castellano ya para hacer una obra
Our ship
maestra
was
del
brought
todo.
here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
Nita, hija, ¿me puedes traer una botella de agua, porfa?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dahna from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dahna.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dahna? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dahna back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dahna has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dahna has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dahna this whole time, just like these things.
Dahna's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrecht 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dahna's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dahna is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dahna's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The wedge and Lenegis are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dahna.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dahna?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dahna's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renasalma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dahna.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dahna.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dahna's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
Buena, Brando, bienvenido.
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Tik Tok.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Ese bicho es igual que el de las mujeres esas de rojo. Los bichos esos que apelamos. Encuentra a los otros. Parece controlar el estado de Herbert 35. Muestra un montón de constantes vitales. A ver. Parece que no hay más nada por aquí.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dahna, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dahna completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dahna.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevrek 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Vale, pues habrá que buscarlos, ¿no? Por aquí supongo, ¿no? A ver, zona inferior. Por aquí hay algo, ¿no? Vale, esta fase ya la habíamos visto, ¿no? Me resulta familiar esta zona. Vale, no hay nada.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrek 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dahna and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Me mola la espada de Alphen, ¿eh? Está muy chula, tío.
Have you guys lived up here in Dig Faisal with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Después de Dag Faro, esta como se llame, viene Rena, ya que es la fase final ya del juego. No sé cuánto nos quedará, a ver si lo podemos terminar hoy.
So our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegus from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrek 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shionne and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Vale, nos queda este y ese. A ver qué bueno aquí. Parece estar constantemente vigilado para que nadie se acerque a Alphen y Shionne.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Dahnans by the Helganquil.
O sea, los renados no existían. Los crearon a partir de los Dahnianos.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Dahnans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Dahnans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dahna now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Bueno, pues ya nos hemos enterado de algo importante.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
Bueno, pues ya sabemos que los renanos fueron hechos a partir de los danianos. Y ya después de esta fase yo he leído que nos queda ya Rena y ya se acaba el juego. Vamos a ver lo que nos queda de juego ya, a ver si lo podemos terminar hoy. Buenas, Lara, bienvenido. Gracias por tu like, hombre.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dahna's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dahna's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dahna, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dahna. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrect 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
José abre de galletas, pero luego me duelen los dientes. Pues lávate los dientes cuando terminas de comer. Uno se lava los dientes y así no te duele.
That's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Dahnans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Dahnans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, and we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dahna on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot. Everything we thought we knew, it was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, no, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Vale, aquí tenemos para descansar, ¿no? Vamos a descansar un poquito. Si estáis cansados, puedo ofrecer un lugar para descansar. Bueno, si no os importa dormir en una de nuestras cámaras de hibernación. Venga, sí, vamos a descansar. ¿Qué comemos, señora? Gracias, bullalesca, sashimi, helado. Voy a abrirle al perro, tío, que lleva todo el rato. Soy yo, hermano. Va, a ver qué hacemos. Helado, mejora de ataque elemental. Aceite. Bueno, pues nos vamos a hablar con nuestros compañeros. Hay aquí que hay como alguien que está... Toca este. ¿Y dónde están los búhos que nos quedan, tío? Me quedan como... Creo que 6 o 7 búhos y no lo he encontrado. Habéis vuelto a encontrarme desmayado y me habéis ayudado, os lo agradezco. Gracias a vosotros puedo seguir investigando. Poción feliz. Qué bien. Pero eso para qué era la poción feliz. Creo que era para... el baje oferante que da buena suerte. Aumenta considerablemente el indicador de bonificación de la... vale. Esto vamos a usarlo. Vale, pues vamos a ir hablando, ¿no? Con la gente que tenemos por aquí. Vamos a hablar con Rimber.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dahnan mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Dahnans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dahna anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Dahnans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Dahnan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Renwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dahna's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Hevrek 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dahna's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
Plano de construcción de Alphen puede verse el hueco del ascensor y varias zonas, serán varias zonas circulares. Vale, viene por aquí, está aquí Sara.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any
He
better
encontrado en
now?
el juego como 2 o 3 sin palabras mal traducidas, pero por lo demás está todo perfecto.
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Dahnans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquill and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Dahnan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Dahnans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Dahnans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Renwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning. But I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Vale, ¿y dónde están los otros? Los otros tienen que estar por aquí. Vale, nos queda Doalen y Lau. Vamos con Doalen. Buenas, Marino, bienvenido.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shionne. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
To say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dahna, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dahna, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to
pues
think
esa es mi
long and
intención,
hard
Marino.
about
Si
where
no
it
se me
is
hace
that we
muy
wish to
largo,
return to.
mi intención es terminarlo hoy.
So,
En teoría me
guess your
queda
only
esta
real
zona
choices at
y
this
la
point
zona
are to
final
either
del
stay
juego.
on Lenegis
Espero
or come
pasármelo
down
hoy.
to Dahna, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Dahnans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck.
¿Y tú lo que
There had
estás,
been
Marino?
backlash
¿Cómo
over how it
estás
had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers
Durante,
among
todo
my
eso?
ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dahna peaceably. As the one and only blazing sword, I suspect the Dahnans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Dahnan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Bueno, nos queda hablar con Lau.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memory started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shionne? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dahna. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late.
Me gusta el nombre ese de Naori, está chulo, tío. El nombre de Naori y de Shionne me gusta mucho.
A mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Dahnan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shionne. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dahna's still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shionne.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shionne tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shionne's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dahna's pending destruction, then...
Shionne's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in Rena.
Shionne.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevrek 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is. Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevrek 35 our answer.
Vale, mientras vemos esto, voy yo un momento.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renaissance stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people there will be fine, I'm sure of it.
Right.
Bueno, pues vamos a hablar con el bicharraco ese. Tenemos que ir donde... ¿Qué sitio era? Que no me acuerdo. ¿La supera hemos estado ya? Oh, se me ha metido como casa aquí, tío. Uf, la costilla. Vale, a ver. Este sitio. Aquí no hemos estado. Aquí no hemos estado. Bueno, no parece que haya nada. Supongo que lo mismo habrá que llegar aquí, ¿no? Para salir. Vale, ¿dónde estaba? Creo que era en el nivel central, creo que era. Nivel central, sí.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Rena's Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Rena's Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shionne described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Pues que morirá, ¿no?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shionne that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational.
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Rena's Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Rena's Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Rena's Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dahna's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dahna from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Rena's Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Rena's Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Rena's Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dahna's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all. Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Bueno, vamos a Rena, ¿no?
Man, is it too much to ask for Havrek 35
La
to talk
verdad.
like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening.
A ver, ¿cómo vamos de objetos? Hace falta comprar... Pero un follón de cosas. Y yo no sé cuánto dinero tengo, nada. No tengo una puta mierda. Qué bien. Qué bien.
Things all that complicated.
Is the Rena's Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit? There has to be another way, right?
Shionne's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Hevrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details, so assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
Llevará un tiempo arreglar vuestra aeronave. Deberíais descansar mientras tanto. Venga, vamos a descansar. Vamos, señoras, que nos vamos a Rena, a la fase final del juego ya. No nos quedará mucho del juego ya. A ver si tengo un nivel suficiente, porque por lo que he visto así por encima, nos tenemos que enfrentar a 3 boss seguidos, ¿eh? O sea que me hace falta comprar pociones y cosas ahí a lo loco.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Dahnans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Dahnans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying. But we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Dahnans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more. That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dahna's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dahna's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dahna's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here.
You're saying there's a little bit of Dahna's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dahna's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dahna's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dahna's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Heverick 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dahna's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember saying anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
Hombre, ¿qué tal, inmortal? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cuánto tiempo sin verte? Bien, voy bien. ¿Y tú qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bueno, pues ahora nos toca ver a Shionne y a Alphen, a ver, los dos protagonistas del juego.
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Shionne?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Me alegro, tío, que estés
Remember when
bien.
it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dahna? Although that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Rena's Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrect 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Rena's Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit.
Sí, hombre.
And me along with it.
Huh?
Ni por todo lo del mundo.
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Rena's Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Dahnans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shionne. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shionne.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth
Paso de banda
that I
sonora que
had
tiene este
never
puto
known
juego,
before.
tío.
Still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
Dale un beso ya, coño.
I do, because Shionne,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Qué maravilla de juego, señores. Ay, santo.
Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dahna and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got
Eso
one
espero,
last wall
bonita.
to tear
Llevo
down.
esperando ya ese momento.
Repairs on your starship are complete.
Bueno, pero
Everything
vamos
is
a
in
Rena a la
working
fase
order.
final del juego.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dig Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make
Buenas,
use of
Capi,
its warp
bienvenido.
drive.
Gracias por tu like, hombre.
Warp drive?
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo vas con la
You
mudanza?
mean like what the Red Women used
¿Arreglaste
on
al
us?
final lo del ordenador o no?
Brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of
Me
the
alegro que
planet.
te vaya, tío.
So, once we
Al
reach
final, ¿qué
the
le
shell,
pasaba?
it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain
O sea que
attempt
sigue
to
sin
save my
funcionarte, ¿no?
kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand.
Cosas del más allá, así funciona. Pues me alegro que te funcione, tío.
All right, time to get back on
Vale,
the phone lines.
despega y dirígete a Rena, ¿no? Por fin. Vale, ¿y dónde estaba la nave ahora que no me acuerdo? Aquí. Vale, antes de seguir voy un momentillo al servicio. No he nada. Y volvemos. No tardó.
Are you just going to keep standing around or what?
Sorry, I'm just getting prepped over here.
¿Por qué tengo esto? ¿Qué le pasa al móvil? Que funciona a veces, otros no. Bueno. Va, seguimos, señores.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the bargain.
You know what that means. Time to go to Rena.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive a spin.
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace of astral energy. This world is dead.
Then this must be the hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world, the entire ocean is that stuff?
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it went after Dahna.
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena was probably just as vibrant as Dahna is. But after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from living beings, but the land, the sea, everything.
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this. And by the looks of it, that's how it remains to this day. A world of death and emptiness.
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned its sights on Dahna, looking for another host.
You're saying if we don't stop it, this is what Dahna's going to look like?
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the oblivion and darkness both Shionne and Naori saw comes to pass, nothing will survive. It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
Bueno, pues estamos en Rena.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began.
Vale, aquí tenemos un punto de viaje. Hay que observar todo. Me vendría bien que me saliera algún de estos para comprar. Supongo que podemos viajar, ¿no? A todos los sitios, sí. Por si acaso, miren, han salido ya misiones secundarias, por ejemplo. Vamos a hacer. Aquí hay otra. Y aquí en Default hay otra. Vale, si vemos que no tenemos mucho nivel para jefe final, pues haremos las misiones para ir subiendo. Y pelearemos con un par de monstruos y tal. Por ahora voy a intentarlo. ¿Cómo va esto? Esto es para un trofeo.
A hollowed ocean as far as the eye can see. What do you think would happen if we fell in?
What do you mean, what would happen? You'd drown, wouldn't you?
Come to think of it, I don't believe I've heard of someone ever trying. Perhaps you'd like the glory of being the first?
No, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized Renan graveyard. Are you proposing to disturb the dead slumber just to satisfy your curiosity, Law?
No, because I said I passed.
Taking an interest is understandable, but let's not forget where we are. This place deserves our respect.
Looks like we're not going to be hearing the end of this one for a while.
You'd think I was already snorkeling in it or something.
Vale, desafío de la vida.
So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Rena's Alma using the Sovereign and Maiden's power. But just how do we do that?
Me faltan todavía unos cuantos búhos, no sé cuántos búhos tenemos. Si me lo pondrán por ahí, pero creo que me quedarán unos 7 u 8 o 10, no recuerdo. Creo que en total son 33. No sé dónde están los otros búhos que me faltan por encontrar.
Shionne's had a lifetime's experience. The problem isn't just our enemy's strength. It's that it's sentient, too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going to just sit back and let us destroy it.
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance. The Great Spirit, that is.
Back when Shionne's thorns flew out of control, we were able to deal with them directly. If this is their host, they should be even more corporeal here.
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we can manage to divert enough energy away from the spirit's core, even temporarily,
we might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Rena's Alma, which we can then use to seal it away forever. It won't be easy, but it's our only shot. Time to buckle up.
Bueno, pero aguanta.
Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out for the best.
What'll the world be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, do you really think everything will be that different?
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those changes turn out to be merely skin deep.
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renan rule. But if it just turns the tables, it's all for naught.
That's true. Just as bad if the Dahnans started pressing their own.
Renans, Dahnans, astral art users, mages. The world is full of labels used to divide and separate people.
If only we
¿Y qué
could see
tal en
differences
tu
like
nuevo
that for
piso,
what they
Capi?
are.
¿Cómo te
No
va?
different to someone
El
having a
cuarto que
musical
tenías antes del
talent
otro
or
piso era
being
súper
good with their
enano. Tío, yo
hands.
sé cómo podías vivir ahí.
Not differences so much as characteristics.
It will take someone in power to set an example. But with
Claro,
time,
porque ya está
people will
terminando el
follow.
juego, Bonita, y
Then,
ya nos tienen que
perhaps one day,
explicar parte de la
There will no
historia
longer
del
be
juego.
any need for the
La,
example. It will have become second nature.
That's where we come in.
la
We can
parte
set the
final del
example.
juego ya supongo que será para contra el
Imagine
último boss.
A world where magic and
Traduce,
astral arts are
José.
used to
Ahí
help
tenéis,
people.
tenéis
Where
los
that's the
subtítulos,
norm rather
leedlo.
than the exception.
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell. Why wait for somebody else? We can show them ourselves.
Vale, ya vamos a continuar, ¿no? Pues venga, vamos para adelante. Esta parte está guapa, ¿eh? A ver, ¿por dónde empezábamos? Por la derecha, yo siempre soy por la derecha. Vale, esto no funciona, así que por aquí no podamos. Y por el centro tampoco. Por lo que veo, sin que hay que ir por la izquierda, por cojones. Oír tu voz de granadina. ¿Será granadino, no? Normalmente suelo leer solo la secundaria y todo eso. Lo demás lo dejo con las vosotras, porque si no me lío a leer y me canso un poco, la verdad. Como tiene subtítulos en grande, pues lo podéis leer.
Looks like we've warped into that pit of astral energy.
Vale, pues vamos a ver qué pasa por aquí. Planes de jubilación.
I wonder what Helganquil civilization was like at its zenith.
I can imagine that'd be something.
Además, tiene unos subtítulos grandes, ¿eh? No tiene unos subtítulos pequeños como algunos juegos.
Like none either world has ever seen. We could surely stand to learn a thing or two from such a people.
I get that you're itching to delve into its history, but we've got bigger fish to fry right now.
Put a pin in it, and you can do all the research you want when you retire.
I can think of worse things than a retirement dedicated to research. As for whether Rena is amenable to an aging specimen...
It's a little early to be giving it serious thought just yet.
A man can dream, though. A man can
Y menos más que no lo he puesto en japonés, si no...
We didn't say there's anything wrong with dreaming.
Ya estaría con la cabeza más rayada que la Virgen y parece que se están peleando los japoneses. Por lo menos el inglés tiene un pase.
You're too helpful to let retire.
Why do I feel this is less of a compliment and more of an ultimatum?
Just a friendly suggestion.
Es que todas estas cosas las estoy poniendo porque es para un trofeo, ¿vale? Que son coñazos leer. Es para un trofeo y tengo que hacer como 400 o por ahí, no sé cuántas eran, entonces por eso lo estoy poniendo. Aparte de que así nos entramos un poquito de la historia.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers we've seen. There are regular Renans inside them, right?
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger. At least, I think that's the idea.
Right. So it kind of begs the question then, why are they made so huge?
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe all that tech wizardry inside takes up a lot of space.
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquil?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it till now. And?
Connect the dots, Law!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed to allow Renans to work alongside the Helganquil?
Huh. But if that's true, what would that mean?
It would mean... just that, I guess. But still, don't you think it's kind of interesting?
Not... hugely? Hey, Kisara, well, I've got you. What's on tonight's menu? Because I was thinking, maybe meat?
Get him, Hoodle.
La cara que pone el búho.
What did I do?
Oh, now you want to listen. Keep pecking, Hoodle.
Ow, ow, ow! Seriously, what the hell?
Que viene.
You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of Zoogles. Like, a whole lot.
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go, we'll always end up bumping into them.
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ranch where they breed them, do you?
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility
hablando ahora
on
de los
Dahna,
monstruos.
let alone up in Lenegis.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be reproducing on their own.
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully exterminate them.
Exterminate them? Whoa, don't you think that's maybe a little harsh?
What do you mean?
Zoogles originally used to be living creatures native to Dahna and Rena, right? Being genetically modified isn't their fault.
You're right. Zoogles were only created because of us Renans. We altered the original creatures to suit our own ends.
First, people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat. They really have only seen the very worst, huh?
I hope we find a way to be able to live side by side with them one day.
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities. What else are we supposed to do?
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renans are able to keep them somewhat under control.
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that might reduce the danger they pose.
Well, I guess when you look at it that way, maybe people and Zeugles aren't so different after all.
Bueno, otra vez estos, tío.
Helganquill.
Lo que me costó matarlo.
Guess they don't need their red woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use. We're not going to get through to them.
So they really are being controlled. In that case, we've got no choice.
Yo, nivel 53, loco.
I knew there was something off here.
They're not pulling punches. We have no choice but to beat them at their own pace.
Vamos a tener que subir de nivel, ya lo digo yo. Por lo menos el boss final va a tener nivel 60 y algo. Yo tengo poco nivel, tengo nivel 40 y algo. Yo tengo que subir de nivel sí o sí.
Armor won't save you! Hold nothing back! I'm not done! What's this? Whip snap! I'll be trading this! Burn! Swallow dance! Do it! Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
Here's a healing arc. I'm ready.
Take this!
The flick magic is in.
Dragon Swarm!
One more time. That'll bring you down. Dance in the wind. Sleep
Dragon Swarm!
Oye, que me mata.
Good. Demon prepare to be sealed.
Cúrame, 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 cúrame.
Breaking sword. All right. Ready to go. Here's the evil. Celestial runner. I'm here to breathe
The
longer.
flame inside me yearns to be let free. Dragon Swarm!
We turned the tables on.
There are still more left.
Right. Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! See that?
That training.
Que va, esta no son las finales. Las bases empezaron a tener más vida, María.
Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
Que va, todavía no llega al final, chicos, todavía queda.
Alphen.
Pero que creo que voy a tener que subir de nivel porque el boss final tiene pinta de tener nivel 60 y pico y yo tengo nivel 43, 44 y no voy a poder con él.
How does that even make them any different from the Dahnan slaves?
Estoy en la fase final ya, en Rena, está en la fase final del juego ya. Pero que tengo que esperar contra el boss y voy a tener que subir de nivel porque tengo un nivel bajo. Lo que sí podemos hacer es hacer un par de misiones secundarias para ir subiendo de nivel. Eso es lo que podemos hacer. Porque presiento de que no... Es que tengo un nivel 45, chicos, es que no... Un nivel muy bajo. Vale, Capi, gracias por pasarte. Has llegado ya a los 3 boss seguidos, bro. No, todavía queda. ¿Cómo subo? Pues peleando contra monstruos, haciendo misiones secundarias, todo eso.
There'd be more dirt and rocks and stuff underneath the hollowed ocean, but it's all artificial.
I would imagine they're remnants left behind by the Helganquill, seeing as there's little actual land.
Pues no lo sé, podemos hacer las misiones secundarias y subir un poquito de nivel y si veo que se hace muy coñazo, pues corto el directo después cuando me canse y luego yo sigo jugando a la sombra subiendo de nivel y cuando ya tenga un nivel medio en condiciones pues hacemos el final del juego. Voy a intentarlo, voy a probar a ver si me mata, pues bueno, pues hay que probar. Lo mismo me lo paso, quién sabe.
We haven't seen anyone here except Helganquill. Looks like this place really is their home planet.
The true citizens of Rena. What a shame that they have become nothing more than puppets to the Great Spirit. To think of the promise their accomplishments once held. They had the potential to be great indeed.
Do you think we could have got along with them? You know, if we had met under different circumstances. Like
all of us, you mean? I suppose it's difficult to say for sure. We don't even know if they would see us as being on an equal level with them or not.
I think we may have had the chance once, before the Renan Great Spirit came along and changed everything.
You and Alphen both share an optimism. A strong willingness to believe in hope.
Do you think that's foolish?
On the contrary, I should like to take a leaf from your book myself. In tragedy's aftermath, hope is all we have.
Todas estas cosillas las pongo, ¿vale? Porque es para un trofeo, como he dicho, y como que paso ahora a jugar juego otra vez para hacer toda esta mierda, a ver si me saco el trofeo y ya me lo quito en medio.
In the past 300 years, no, even before that, just how many people, Renan or Dahna, do you think
sí, por intentar lo bueno, y eso ya quité eso de él, so dijiste. Ah, ya sé lo que dices.
Also,
que ya has quitado lo de que la gente ponga su canal y todo eso,
I'm
¿no?
just amazed you're still standing around gawping at it at a time like this. Sometimes I wonder about your priorities.
Claro, si la ha eliminado del Naivo, se la ha eliminado.
I can understand where he's coming from. More to the point, does anyone know where it leads?
What do you mean where it leads? To the center of the planet, of course.
And that doesn't strike you as sounding just a little bit, oh, I don't know, far? There has to be a quicker way to get there, right?
Yeah. With all this technology at their fingertips, it seems pretty unlikely that they'd make that kind of journey on foot. There must be some kind of device somewhere. Let's see if we can figure out how to use it.
Borrow one of their contraptions? You're either brave or out of your mind.
If it works for them, there's no reason it wouldn't for us. Why make things harder for ourselves?
You know what he's like, Law. Once he gets an idea in his head, there's no talking him out of it.
Vale, voy a guardar. En esta zona. Vale, en teoría podemos volver para atrás ahora, ¿no? Vale, por si acaso. Es que han salido muchas misiones secundarias, por ejemplo, aquí. Tenemos misiones secundarias nuevas y si veo que me veo muy apurado, pues las hago para intentar subir de nivel. Porque las otras que me quedan son bosses que están muy por encima del nivel y... como que no. Vale, hay que tirar por aquí, ¿no? Vamos a pelear un poquito a ver si subimos algo de nivel. Que es que este juego es muy difícil de subir de nivel, hay que pelear muchísimo. Lobos dorados, ¿eh? Lobos, es que fijar el nivel que tienen los motos, tiene nivel 50 y pico y yo tengo nivel 45. Por eso os digo que el boss final seguramente tenga nivel 60 o por ahí.
Leave the ensnaring to me. I'm sorry to be required. And ugly to me. But you can't get out of this. Inferno punch!
That'll bring you down.
Florida! Swallow dance! Dragon Form!
Here's evil.
Take this! Dragon Form!
It's showtime.
First strike!
Here, now. Frozen.
Hammer!
Lightning Mega Ray. Annihilation.
Dragon Form!
Holy Land.
Hurricane! You're mine! Come on, come on! Dragon Form!
Glacial Spear. Pierce evil.
Dust to dust!
Freeze
Demon Thing! Try this out!
Vale.
Let me help.
Dragon
Eliminate
Form!
the dark. Come forth. Holy
Imperial
Land.
Chargers to me!
Holy Land.
Far enough!
Lunar
Talon Hurricane! No further! Evil flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Do it. Get toasty.
Burn strike!
Right. Next one.
Already
Here's
done!
one. I'm all
Dragon
copied up.
Form!
This one's mine. Confiscated.
First strike! Do it!
Get toasty.
Burn strike!
I've been doing really great lately.
que fijaros, tengo nivel 45, tío. Y los boss tienen nivel 50 y algo. Y seguro que los boss al final tendrán nivel 60 y algo. Sin que hay que subir de nivel sí o sí. Yo voy a intentarlo, a ver si me lo puedo pasar, si no. Volveré para atrás y haré secundaria y subiremos de nivel.
I'd say it's likely, which is pretty ironic when you think about it.
Ironic?
The Renans have committed grave injustices against the Dahnans. But it was all of their own volition, not because they were being controlled. Now, it turns out they themselves were once Dahnans too.
Which must mean that the root of their evil isn't the Great Spirit, but something inherent in all of us. Our free will.
Now hang on, though. It was that same free will that allowed Shionne and Dohalim to choose to fight alongside us. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to beat hatred and forge all those connections we've made. Free will is what saved us, right?
Law's entirely right. In any case, it certainly can't hurt to look on the bright side every now and then.
Yeah. Where there's hope, there's a way.
What'd he say?
He said, without a doubt.
Vale, jale de uva. ¿Dónde estamos? Vale, que tiras por aquí.
Is this a dead end?
It appears this whole room functions as an elevator. That apparatus there is likely what's used to control it.
Vale, un ascensor, ¿no? Que está por aquí. Nivel superior, pedo. Caza ascensor, a mí. Bueno. Nivel 52 nada menos, ¿eh?
Concentrate. These things really get on my nerves.
Now I can let loose. Strike! Flying free! What did they just say?
Sigue peleando contra los bichos altos, subiendo un poquito de nivel.
Now you see what I can do! Dragon Form! Demon Fang! Tear you apart! By the power of fire! Light Burst Force!
Radiant Citizen!
They just keep coming! What is this? Hey, you okay? I can still do this! Come on! Ignite!
Lunar corruption!
Dragon Force!
If it's in the sky, it's mine! This one's mine!
Rip and tear! Far enough! Now I'm in the groove! I'm not done!
Burning!
Do it! Demon's Descent! Flashing Fang! Easy!
Way to go!
You're mine! Escape!
Dance in the wind!
You picked the wrong fight!
Vote now!
Light Burst Force!
Radiant Citizen!
More Zuko?
Keep calm and take them down!
Mira, pero que sale cada vez más bicho que apoyar.
If it's in the sky, it's mine! Not on my watch!
You're mine!
Will this help?
Dragon Form!
Bueno, a mí me interesa porque así subo de nivel.
Prepare to be seized!
Illuminate the sky! I never miss! Holy glimmer! We're in the home stretch, guys!
What she said. Eyes on the prize.
That focus goes double for you, Law!
Demon's Descent! Flashing Fang!
Dance in the wind!
I'm not done! Ignite!
You shouldn't have messed with me.
Dragon Form! I'll smash you!
Burning strike!
Dragon Form!
Nothing gets by me.
Take this! I'll crush you! Lightning Reflexes! Tenebrous Claw!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Enemies incoming!
More?
Esto parece que van saliendo bichos todo el rato. Mejor si subo de nivel más rápido.
One more! I'm only getting started! Illuminate the dark! I'm only getting started!
Easter! Burning strike! Finish you here and now! Burning strike! Water energy! Do it!
Dohaline!
Light burst force!
Radiant Genesis!
You're open! One more!
Let the marksman handle this!
Take this! I never miss! I'll tear you apart! I can carve through armor!
Lightning orb!
That'll bring you down!
Illuminate the dark!
I'm on it! No further!
Holy glimmer!
There!
Holy land!
Do it!
Alphen! Astral energy!
Say no more!
Shut!
Well done!
Take this!
I'm only getting started! Take a sleep now!
Got you! Do it! You're out! I can hit all this! First strike!
Has aprendido. Tierra no seguir.
This one's mine! I'm on it! Pierce through!
Field! Here's a healing art! Saving this first aid!
Demon Plague!
Field!
Denied!
Take saving this one! The water's not up on
It's over!
It's time! Purge malevolence! Now!
In an instant!
Impact Frost! More?
Illuminate the dark!
Y la bicha está saliendo, copón.
Now I'm real mad! Dust to dust!
Y no acaban, y no acaban, y no acaban.
Where you go? First strike!
Take it! Do it again! Alphen! Astral energy!
Say no more!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Sighted! Go! I'm only getting started! Take this one!
I'll tear you apart!
Now!
Demons descend! Flashing fang!
Raging flame of fury!
Burning
Field! Burning strike!
Vale, se acabó. Pero me fuera que me fueran salido más si subo de nivel fácilmente. Pero que fijaros todo lo que he peleado y aún así no he subido de nivel. Para que veáis lo que cuesta subir de nivel en este juego. Vale. Ascensor de gran estructura. Vale, ¿ahora qué? Hay que tirar por aquí, ¿no?
Even in such a harsh environment as this, there are still creatures here?
You think they're native to Rena? Or could they be Zoogles somehow?
Whatever they are, they're dangerous.
Vale, ahí hay más gente para pelear. La vino grande esto, colega.
Watch yourselves around them. You think that
Vamos a pelear con todos los boss que nos interesa subir de nivel, pero vamos, es que nivel 52 y tengo yo nivel 45. No sé, yo creo que al monstruo final me va a costar muchísimo trabajo porque mínimo van a tener el nivel 60 y algo, ya lo digo yo. Si vemos que no, pues haremos misiones secundarias que nos quedan por ahí y intentaremos subir de nivel.
Now! Astral energy!
Say no more!
Well done! I never miss! Mega Red! First strike! Do it! Alphen! Astral energy!
Say no more!
I'll heal you all! Take that! Illuminate
So much for sitting this fight out.
We'll
save you! Nope, that'd be silly.
We're in the home stretch, guys! What's this? Astral energy! Full throttle! Here goes! Ready to go!
Rising Phoenix! You're done!
There! Got water!
Eat this! Do it! I'll finish you here and now!
I think I'm getting
Vale, el
stronger.
Inver sube echando hostia, de nivel. Siempre es la que está siempre por delante de todo, Voy a cambiar los personajes. Voy a cambiar al Inver, por ejemplo. Vamos a meter a este. Vamos a cambiar a... Vamos a meter a Doali.
Yourself. This one's tough.
Like moth to the flame.
You're mine.
Your reflexes will not serve you well here.
That'll bring you down. Inferno far enough.
Everlasting in a bind.
Thunder touch. Shattering the pieces. Attack time.
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and the puzzle is
I'm ready.
This one's got your name on it.
Action to action. A
Wow,
merry
indeed.
distraction.
There's still more to go. Here I go.
I can carve through armor.
Magna ray. Confiscated. Hurricane strike. Havoc.
Dragon form. I'm ready.
Kizara. Go for it.
Prepare to crumble. My turn.
Lunar corruption.
Escape.
Gemini hurricane strike.
Can't get out of this.
Here. Blizzard blow.
Take this.
Here. Got blazing meteor.
I'm ready.
Annihilation. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
There you go, Alphen.
It's time to end this battle.
I'm right beside you.
Okay, here I go. Allow me to help you.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look.
Vale, este tenemos a nivel 3 de este 2. Y yo creo que se los voy a dejar, tío, porque me gustan bastante los... Las habilidades como vamos, 1100 y pico. Las que vamos a hacer por aquí. Vamos a ir por aquí, 1140. Carga de rápido de filo flagelo. Explosión de filo Digo, Shionne, vale, vamos a terminar este. Kisara, 700 y pico. Para este. Alien. Vamos a terminar este. Lau. Es por aquí. Y Rimbel. Vale. Pues seguimos, señores.
Look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
A ver. Aquí tenemos algo. Y tenemos una escalera que suben para arriba, ¿no? O que bajan para abajo. Bueno, ahí un pedazo de bicharraco estoy viendo. Vamos a mirar primero esta zona. Vale, ahí esconden algo. Bueno, un pedazo de bicharraco que hay ahí, ¿eh? Algo bueno tienes que tener ahí. Uf. Vale, vamos a cambiar el boss. Vamos a poner esto. Vamos a matar primero a esto y luego lo metemos a grande.
Two heads? What's that even there? This one's mine.
Dragon form! Too fast! Stand back. I'll trip it up.
By the power of God.
Explosive ring!
Heal my
wearied companion.
Armor won't save me. Pierce evil. Freeze lance. Hurricane strike. This one's
Se
mine.
van levantando ya el nivel de los personajes, ¿eh? De los monstruos que digan.
Can't get out of this.
Hurricane
Free.
I'll fix you up. Oh, dude, guys, come over.
Eat this.
Here, let
I'm
me
ready.
help.
You're mine.
Lock. Get toasty.
Bird strike.
Daring flame. Reload.
Dragon form. Shine. Radiant light. Force of regeneration. Demon fang.
Glacial clear. Pierce evil.
Demon fang.
Radiant spear.
Dragon fang.
Hurricane strike. Let me help.
Mátale, o puta.
Here's a healing art.
Take this. It's over.
Lunar corruption. Guardian spear.
I'm ready. In a bind.
I'm ready to nothing
Take
gets
this.
by me.
Dragon form. I'm ready.
Ridwell. Frozen. Hammer.
Vale, vamos con el gordaco.
Dirt. Hurricane denied. Lunar corruption.
Benediction light.
By the I never miss.
All right. Dragon form. This one's all mine.
Radiant spear.
Burn in hell. Heavy
Bueno, no le hago nada, capollas.
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you dying?
Ah, right. Can't get out of this!
Dragon form!
Let's keep up the pressure!
Radiant light!
Regeneration! Regenerate!
Thank you for the healing, Dahna.
Our comrades need our abilities to survive.
Right. No one is dying on our
La
watch.
pila hostia que le estoy dando, No le hago una polla. Y la vida que tiene el puto bicho este.
In a bind!
Healing circle.
Seismic shock!
Pull myself.
Death shall not be
Blizzard blow by the power of water.
Bring the charges to me!
Explosive ring!
Far enough!
Damn it. Out of ammo. I'm ready.
Take this!
I never miss.
Dragon form!
Hurricane annihilation.
Dragon form!
Flame of fury. Celestial spear. Pierce evil.
Shine! Radiant light!
Regeneration.
On guard!
Regenerate!
Hurricane flight.
Now we're not...
Appreciate the help!
Thank you for that.
Can't get up! Just left.
Blizzard blow.
Dragon form!
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare Demolisher!
Ya a ver si tiene vida,
Inferno
Bueno, y esto no es un boss. Si vienen los boss tienen el triple de vida.
Dragon form!
Ya le queda poco ya.
Armor won't save you! Look sharp!
I'm out of ammo.
Switch to offense! My head's spinning, just watch me!
Demon Fang! Dragon!
Me ha matado, hijo puta.
Pierce evil. Going in. Freeze Lancer.
Take this!
I'm only getting
In a bind!
I can handle it!
sight.
Far enough!
Go. You're mine. That'll bring you down.
No, que le queda poco.
Demon Fang!
You made me angry! That was a bad idea!
Here I go. One more.
Demon Fang!
Ponete ya, cabrón.
Finish it!
Alphen, this ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Ya a ver si tiene vida.
Well,
Bueno, subimos a 46, ¿eh?
The speed and precision of your aim is simply unmatched.
Chaleco canino.
I had no idea you were watching me so.
Esto es para al lado, creo. Vale, voy a tener que volver para atrás para descansar. Porque estamos muy tocados, Estamos muy tocados. Lo malo es que luego vamos a tener que enfrentarnos otra vez a todos los bichos. ¿Veis? Salen otra vez los bichos aquí, los hijos de puta. Uf. Pues nada. A ver. Volvemos para atrás. Si me deja, claro está. Vale. Superficie. La superficie podíamos... Es que no recuerdo, tío. Aquí podemos curarnos, pero no recuerdo exactamente en qué parte. Aquí, por ejemplo. Vamos para acá. He descansado un poco. Luego voy a intentar...
Always good to be back in familiar territory.
A ver, ¿dónde estaba el tío? Este está por aquí arriba. ¿Qué es? Si puedo ahorrarme, tío, Si puedo ahorrarme el gastar pociones, tío, sé lo suyo.
If I do say so myself.
Vale, aquí tenemos una secundaria, que mírala ya que estoy. Refrescame la memoria, pertenecéis a la generación actual de renanos, ¿verdad? Entonces nos tienen que separar unos 100 años. Yo sería de mí algo parecido a un ancestro de vuestra generación. Como tal, tengo el deber de enseñaros a mostrar respeto por los mayores. Tal vez esté hilando muy fino, pero ¿crees que ese respeto es merecido en esta ocasión? No sabría decirlo, pero me parece que necesita ayuda con algo. Préstame atención un instante, resulta que... Alto, no puedo permitir que continúes. Tenía la sensación de que ocurriría algo así. Siempre trato de adelantarte a mis conclusiones. Me sorprende tus objeciones. Creía que entendíais que en ocasiones la búsqueda del conocimiento implica ensuciarse las manos. Buenas, Zampa. ¿Qué tal? Bienvenido. La voz del loco, que es otro canal que tiene hecho o algo así. ¿Pero lo utiliza o no lo utiliza? ¿Ya has terminado tu directo? ¿Qué le pasa al móvil, tío? Que se le va la batería. Yo qué sé qué vaya le pasa. Carga, deja de cargar. Vaya puta mierda de móvil. Precisamente por eso no puedo cruzarme de brazos y dejar que continúe con algo así. Podría estar pendiente de una valiosa oportunidad. Lo que estoy viendo, Zampa, es que ahora estos últimos monstruos ya de la fase final tienen ya casi nivel 50. Y el boss final seguramente va a tener 60 y pico. Así que lo mismo tengo que hacer misiones secundarias, las que me queden y subir de nivel, porque la voy a pasar canutas. Tengo nivel 46 y me está gustando, ¿no? Tratemos de ser justos, pues cada uno explicará su petición. Me parece bien, no poner ninguna objeción. Me duele la cabeza intentar seguir este diálogo de besugo. Deben de ser muy fuertes si hasta tú lo admites. No sé qué queréis de nosotros, pero no esperéis que accedamos a nada. Hey, ¿vas a ignorar a una persona mayor en apuro? No imaginaba que el salto generacional sería tan grande como para que los jóvenes hubieran olvidado los buenos modales. Qué contratiempo.
Really now.
Está bien, os escucharemos a los dos, pero las cosas de una en una. Somos gente ocupada con asuntos propios de los que preocuparse. Excelente, en ese caso puedo esperar, empieza tú. Gracias, bueno, como iba diciendo, quiero que descendáis a la superficie de Rena y localicéis a cierto segole con el que he estado experimentando. Se trata de un espécimen fallido, lo expulsé de Alphen y Shionne creyendo que no volvería a verlo, pero parece que ha sobrevivido al paseo espacial. ¿Lo has mandado al espacio? ¡Qué cruel! A ver si lo adivino. ¿Quieres que terminemos tu trabajo? En parte sí, pero todavía más importante es que recojáis muestras del tejido de dicho segole. Jamás hubiera predicho que llegaría hasta Rena, vivito y coleando. La ocasión merece proseguir con la investigación científica. ¿Y por qué no vas tú? Así podrás investigar a la criatura hasta que te hartes. Entre mis fortalezas no se encuentra el trabajo de campo. Tengo entendido que vosotros soportáis mejor que yo las labores intensas. Creía que era consciente de la impresión que causó, pero es evidente que no. Parece que alguien es un poco vago. Venga, nos ocuparemos. A ver qué vida tiene el monstruo. A ver que vea esto de la voz del loco. Canal. Ah, pero si no tiene nada más que un suscriptor. No es que es tu segunda cuenta o algo así, o como va. Tengo sentimientos encontrados. No puedo prometer que vayamos a cumplir la tarea, pero si lo crees oportuno trataremos de hacerlo. Me complace comprobar que mis predicciones tienen fundamento. En ese caso, adelante y manos a la obra. Toda mi investigación depende de esto. Así que cuando antes termine, mejor. No sé si lo había comentado, el segole en cuestión es un hexápodo gigante, extremadamente violento. Aconsejo cautela en esta historia. Me da a mí que esto va a tener más nivel que el copo. Al gigante de 6 brazos, nene, pero ¿qué dices? ¿Y dónde está el gigante ese? Está aquí. Vale, ¿cómo llego aquí? Ah, pero si está donde hemos venido, ¿no? Vamos por aquí. Voy a intentarlo, a ver qué nivel tienen. Si veo que no puedo ganar, pues lo dejaremos. Buenas, Javi Pulido, ¿qué tal? Gracias por tu like, hombre. ¿Cómo estás?
Perhaps I should have put more thought into this before accepting.
Pero que por lo que estoy viendo, creo que en este directo no lo vamos a terminar. Por lo menos hasta el siguiente. Lo que haré es que jugaré yo las sombras para ir subiendo de nivel. A ver, gigante, sí, de los cojones. Esto por lo menos va a tener nivel 60. Ya lo digo yo.
A six-armed giant. Is this the Zoogle from
54. Ahí va a estar, Y este es igual que el boss que me enfrenté antes. Vale, vamos a intentarlo.
How do you like being pounded into shape?
You picked the wrong fight. Demon Fire, try this.
Now where will I?
Explosive ring.
How do you
Okay, here I go.
Take this. I'll take
further.
I'm out of ammo. Back into the fray. Mega ray. By the power of water.
I'll stop its charge.
Thanks, Kisara.
Here's evil.
Seismic rupture.
Ready? This one's mine.
Try harder.
Here's a healing arc.
Now you see what I can do.
Ready to go.
Vale, si estoy atento y lo esquivo bien, no tiene por qué matarme. Está un poco lento, la verdad.
It's over.
Freeze laser.
This one's all mine. Ignite.
I never miss.
Here I come.
Annihilation. Radiant light. Here.
You can't get out of this.
Standing full.
Here I come.
Will this help?
No escape.
Healing circle.
¿Quieres estar para Byron?
Appreciate the help. Anything in armor is all I do is a dust.
Dragon form.
Elusive deity. Now you see what I can do. Hitting pile
I'm not done.
Healing circle.
Dragon form.
They might with blackened blade.
On guard.
Flame inside me.
I'll be let free.
Here I come.
Keep up the pressure.
No escape.
Take this.
You're finished.
Crescent moon.
Take
Radiant
this.
light.
No escape.
Leave your
Dragon
terrain to
form.
me. Far enough.
I'll grind you into dust.
My head's spinning.
Bueno.
Radiant pierce. Crescent moon.
Here I come.
First aid.
Dragon form.
The tempest engulfs you.
This one's mine. Mega ray. This one's
They
mine.
might with blackened
Where are
blade.
you going? On guard.
This one's all mine.
Infernal thunder.
I'm not
Annihilation. Here goes. Lightning.
Not today. Now, this one is really.
Take it down.
No escape.
In a bind.
Fluidity of your movements are simply incredible.
Fuera, fuera, fuera.
Shine. Shine bright.
Puta, quita poca vida el cabrón, ¿eh?
Resonate with the
Much
earth.
obliged.
Speaking of that,
This one's mine.
Tell me about shine. Radiant light. From beyond. Imbue this vanquished soul.
Yo, hija, a ver, recuperando a la gente y se nos mueren.
Dragon form.
Breath of life. Heal my wearied companion. Take this. Now you see what I can do.
Healing flame. Reload.
I'll grind you into
Here I come.
Blizzard blow.
Dragon form.
Amazing.
Take this.
I'm ready.
Burn it out.
Let me free you of
Here
your
I come.
defense.
Healing circle. This one's mine.
Dragon form.
Hold on to your art.
No
Here I
bond
come.
shall break this night.
Back into the fray.
Away.
Here's a healing arc. Now
No.
flame light.
Bang.
Here, let me help.
Resonate with the
First
earth.
aid. Here's a healing arc.
Demon Fang.
Don't mind if I do.
Going in. Back into the fray. Alphen, this ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
Here I go.
You're mine.
Ready and rare.
There.
Sword Alpha.
Armor won't save you.
Oh,
Ready
you
to
try
blast.
to come over?
Make it count.
Let me. It's time to finish this. Die. Consuming wildfire.
A coger el tire mi chión, coño.
Lunar
Take
corruption.
this.
Can't get out of this.
Inferno by the power of water. Here goes.
No!
forgive me. This is my fault.
Healing circle.
Sorry. I didn't want to put you out.
What are friends for if we can't depend on one another?
You're right. I'll bear that in mind.
I'll bring you back from death
Heal
to
my
this.
weary.
Resuscitation.
Train hard.
Nada más que te hablo de resucitar.
Here's evil.
¿Dónde está el bicho?
Freeze laser. There. Here goes. No. Anything in order. That'll bring you down.
¡Hijo de puta! Me ha quitado poca vida, loco, eso.
And more of this and I'll burn out. Dragon form.
Annihilation. I'll heal you all.
Nada, que al final tengo que gastar de esto.
This should do it.
Healing circle.
Sorry.
You do the same for me. Here I go.
That helps.
Far through armor. Mega ray. Annihilation. Mega ray.
Everlasting.
Further.
Stay away from my friend.
Here's evil.
Dragon form.
Freeze Lancer. I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Far enough. Resuscitation. There! Go! I'm only getting started! Hear me! Flame of Art Seal!
Captivity! Shine! Radiant light!
Here's a healing arc!
Regenerate!
First aid!
Quedado del medio, gilipollas.
Hurricane Strike! Resuscitation!
I can carve through armor!
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
Fuera.
Not today! Captivity!
Where are you going? Here I go! Help Thrust! Here I go! Help this!
Demon Fang!
Burning Strike!
Can't get out of this!
One more!
Resonate with the aura!
One more! Here, let me help! Let me out! First aid!
Come on! You have to hold on!
Here I go! Help this!
Shine! Radiant
Take this!
Regenerate! Regenerate!
First aid!
Let us take the fray!
I hope this medicine works as planned.
Art expert coming through!
Armor won't save you!
Not in your dream!
I owe you one. Benediction light.
How do you like being
Puto
pounded
bicho de
into shape?
mierda.
Lunar corruption! I'm ready to go!
Cago en tus muertos.
Pay for that! Benediction light.
Cúrame, Chio, hija. Pues es que Chio está muerta, capaz me va a curar.
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare the
Que es un amigo. Vale, vale. Pensaba que eras tú con otra cuenta. Vamos, nena, que eras curado, ¿qué?
Here's a healing arc! First aid! Here, let me help.
Pues bienvenido a tu amigo, al la voz del loco, pero ¿qué? ¿De grupo tuyo o un amigo tuyo?
You've almost got this.
Vamos, que le queda poca vida.
I like your attitude. I'm right with you, Captain.
Demon Fang! On the ground!
First aid! Art Seal! First aid! Help this!
Smite with blackened blade!
Confiscated! Take an attack! Right, watch out!
Take this!
Por lo que yo he leído son 3 boss seguidos, ¿no? Lo que he leído. Bueno.
Here!
Don't give up!
Companion!
I let my guard down.
Esto me va a matar al final, gilipollas.
I'll bring you back from death to this. Resuscitation!
La hija que va a echar la vida con la hija para resucitar.
No more
El
play!
copón.
Nice! Going in! Take this!
I'll smash you!
Ya lo da ahí, gilipollas.
Radiant Pierce!
Boost of regeneration! Regenerate!
Que te caigas solo, gilipollas.
Here goes! Heal!
Dragon Swarm!
Still like I do!
Dance on the wind!
Where are you going?
Now or never. On your knees. No further! Demon Fang! Try this! Explosive ring! Captivity! Okay.
Radiant Pierce!
Demon Fang! Try this!
No.
Not now, not ever!
Ready for the fray!
Vale, queda poco, coño.
I can carve through armor!
Freeze laser!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free! On your Here I come! Air Hunter! Dragon Swarm!
Going in! Leap, make it rain!
Acabó.
Chisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Estoy ya en Rena, estoy ya.
Well, we beat it in the end. Let us harvest what we can use and take it with us.
Built for the sake of it and then cast us.
Vale. ¿Dónde estaba el cliente? Que no recuerdo. Aquí.
sad.
Que ahora tengo un poquito de dinero para comprar cosas, tío. Que estoy...
Looks like we get to sleep with a roof over our heads.
Hemos acabado con el sable de Rena que dijiste. Aquí tienes el tejido que hemos podido extraer. Espléndido, fue todo un acierto pediros ayuda. Estoy impaciente por analizar la muestra. No sé si alguna vez seré capaz de entenderme con nuestros ancestros. Costará lo suyo, de eso no me cabe duda, pero creo que lo conseguirás. Una vez más, sobrevaloras mi destreza en asuntos de esta índole, quizás. No te sobrevaloro. Después de todo, fuiste tú quien tendió puentes entre dahnianos y renanos. Esto es gen. Y bien, ¿has terminado ya con ellos? Es mi turno. Sí, adelante, con permiso. Debo retomar mi investigación. Yo llevo 2 directos que no viene ni Dios. Es que este YouTube está mal. No recomienda no hacer nada. Pero bueno. Se agradece a la gente que siempre está por aquí apoyando. Vale, no sé cuánto dinero me han dado. Me han dado bastante, me viene bien. Vamos a ver la secundaria esta de aquí. Os estaba esperando por fin en mi turno, así que escuchad. No sé si te has dado cuenta, antes de entrar en tu directo, antes de hacer el directo, te he dejado el like y me he ido porque estaba ya yo preparando mi directo. Iré a grano, quiero que os enfrentéis a mi última creación. Otra vez, ¿por qué nos habláis con tanta arrogancia cuando en realidad el favor lo hacemos nosotros? Eso es irrelevante. Quiero que luchéis contra el prototipo de una criatura que he logrado sintetizar. Esta gente siempre habla de prototipos y sujetos de prueba. Todo el mundo aquí es así. ¿Por qué narices has tenido que crear algo tan repulsivo? Forma parte de la búsqueda del conocimiento. Siento absoluta fascinación por el grado de fuerza que pueden llegar a alcanzar la criatura. Lo más difícil es determinar si algo es realmente el ser más fuerte que existe. Si derrota a un rival fuerte, puedes concluir que es más fuerte que este, pero resulta complicado encontrar adversarios adecuados. Vuestra presencia es como una respuesta a mis plegarias. Sé que sois todos unos bravos guerreros. Por eso quiero que luchéis contra mi creación, para averiguar por fin quién es más fuerte. Bueno, visto así, cuesta negarse. ¿Y qué tal con el de Ring? ¿Cómo te va, Zampa? Mañana lo jugaré yo un ratillo. Y el de María ya lo tengo aquí, mira, ha venido hoy. Aquí está el de María. No lo he abierto todavía. Y ya cuando venga ya la semana que viene, a ver si se anime y jugamos. ¿Qué crees que estás haciendo? Tenemos cosas más importantes de las que preocuparnos. Y si alguien sale herido, no te preocupes por nada. Estamos preparados de sobra para lidiar con lo que nos echen a por todas aquí y ahora. Entonces, ¿qué? ¿Lo vamos a hacer aquí? Olvídate de eso. Si el enfrentamiento tuviese lugar aquí e hicieseis un agujero en la estación, tendríamos problemas muy graves. He encontrado un sitio óptimo e idóneo en Dahna. Os llevaré hasta allí y espero buenos resultados. ¿Ya estás listo para luchar? Y tanto, vamos allá. Voy a empezar a grabaros todo. Buena suerte. A ver si jugamos María tú y yo al Elden Ring. Bueno, que me va a llevar al bicho. Contra Endankill. Nivel 52. Y se queda cargando esto. ¿Qué ha pasado? No se me verá. Ah, vale, la bicha esta de mierda. Se va a bajar a matarlo. Se me ha olvidado descansar, tío. Mira que yo sabía que tenía que hacer algo. Se me ha olvidado descansar, tío. Ahora voy a tener que malgastar esto, compadre. Oye, tío. Como está tan barato. Me acaba de descansar antes de hablar con él. No, que la otra semana es la del examen. Buenas, Javi, ¿qué tal? Pues aquí estoy enganchado, a ver si termino ya el juego. Estoy enganchado, sí, me tiene enganchado el juego este, tío. Pero es seguro ya que la semana que viene es el examen. David, este no me lo paso ni de coña, ¿eh? Es que tenía que haberme descansado, tío. Joder, loco, si que una te mata.
Healing circle! Here goes! I'll bring you back from death's abyss. I can't heal you forever. One more. I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Not on my watch.
I can feel the shock.
I'll heal you all.
Prepare to be seized! No further!
Piercing roar! Healing flame! Burning strike!
You're mine!
Each turn!
Begin! Dragon form!
Piercing roar! Where are you going? Hurricane strike!
You picked the wrong fight!
Go!
Dragon form!
Far enough! Reload! Unguard!
Thrilling performance!
Inferno cross! Out of ammo! First aid! Strength!
Dragon form!
I like my guard.
Joder.
Forgive me. This is my fault.
Que va, tío, no tengo ni idea para este tío.
Heal my wearied companions.
Resuscitation!
Take this!
Not done yet!
Now you see what I can do.
Es que tiene que haber descansado, tío, antes de enfrentarme, ¿eh? Luego no tengo tampoco de esto. Voy a gastar todas las de naranja que tengo, colega.
I hope this medicine works as promised.
No further! Slash! Sonic thrust! Destruction! Crush!
Resuscitation!
Double demon fang! Disruptor! Demon fang! Burn in hell!
Here I go! One more! On guard! Take one! I'll bring you down! Inferno crush!
I owe you one!
Burning strike!
Que no lo hago nada, colega. Puta madre.
Armor is all mine. I can carve through
¡Oh! Pero tío, que le estoy dando a...
Not today!
Here I go! Oh, douche! Hear me! Flame of fury! Burning strike!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Feast assault!
Madre mía, ese tío no hace, me quita toda la vida.
Okay, in a bind.
Going in! Inferno crusher! Reload!
Madre, cabrón.
Bathed in blood.
Radiant blood here! Blaze of
Lady
light!
Cyber, yours!
Inferno crusher!
Not today! Air pressure! You're mine! I'm not done!
I never miss!
¿Y tú qué tal, Javi? ¿Cómo vas con el trabajo?
Hurricane strike! Feast assault! Magna ray!
Armor won't save you.
Searing flame!
Fuera, fuera.
On guard! Here I go!
Dragon
Tiger blade!
Heal my weary
Puta, este que hace.
Annihilation! Magna ray! Annihilation strike! This one's mine! Glacial spear! Piercing evil! Green Lancer! Not on my watch! Shield and bang! Inferno crossing!
Explosive ray!
Strike! Go! Magna ray!
Take this!
Annihilation!
Not today!
Magna ray! Flaming meteor! Magna ray!
Dragon form! Catapult! Demon fang! Try this!
to me. Benediction light.
No llega ni la mitad de la vida todavía.
No,
Can't end here!
I couldn't make it in
Carve
time.
through!
Green Lancer!
Imbue this vanquished soul with light.
I'll bring you back from death to this!
Pero venga, hija, que está tardando la vida para resucitar, coño. No es copón.
If it's in the
Que no me
sky,
deja, Leo,
come
puta.
on. Here, let me help. Hold on to your art. Here I come. Hurricane strike. Don't mind if I do.
Déjame tranquilo, coño.
In a bind.
Vale, tenía por aquí algo de esto. Vamos a utilizar este ya, que me tiene ya hasta los cojones ya. A ver, y me dices que no le quita nada, colega. Con este, como me lo pase, voy a subir a nivel seguro. Dios, 1000 y pico que quita de puta. Vamos a ver, tío, no le he echado yo acción para recuperarla, colega.
This should do it! Regeneration! Regenerate! Take this!
I'm all set up! Hurricane annihilation! Blood!
Rending you apart! Bloody howling! On your dragon form!
Light up the door!
Demon Fang!
Let me help!
Explosive!
Begin! Now you see what I can do! And take this! No further!
Ven aquí, ven, ven, toma.
Not today!
Shine!
Radiant light! Pulse of regeneration! Regenerate!
Dragon form!
Allow me to help you.
Where are you going?
Is that a healing art? It is. I can't ignore the pain. No, try.
Yo, me ha dejado.
I'll bring you back from
Thank
death
you,
to
Shimura.
You're mine!
He who prepares is free from regret. They smite like lightning blades!
Arc field! Flaming meteor! Confiscated! Healing circle!
On your knees.
Alright! Now where was I?
I owe you one shot.
And just like that, I'm back in it. Start by holding the front line. No sooner said than done. Sorry, Fabulous Circle! Mega Ray!
It's
Far
time.
enough! By the power of
Take
water!
this!
Dragon form!
Hurricane Swift!
This should do it!
By the power of water!
They
Going
smite
in.
black and blade!
Enough! Demon Fang! Try this! Explosive ring!
Tiger Blade! Inferno Crossing! I never miss!
Ven, guapetón,
Here comes all perfect move! Annihilation!
Uy, uy, uy.
Lightning! Hurricane Strike!
Catapult!
Searing
Dragon
Flame!
form!
Here goes! Here's a healing art! Going in! First aid!
Everlasting shot!
Tiger Blade!
Dragon form!
Here!
Not today!
One final push!
Let's finish this off!
I'll do my best not to disappoint.
Oh,
Can't end here!
No further!
Glacial Spear! Here's
Order
evil!
won't save you!
Freeze
From
Laser!
beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with
que ha resucitada.
Ready to go!
denied!
I'll bring
No.
you back from death to this!
¿Has aprendido qué?
Thank you for that.
Alright!
Mega Ray!
Let's get back into it!
Dragon form!
Negative gate!
Como que le queda poco.
Here, let me help. First aid!
Stalagmite!
Healing! Burning! This one's mine!
Dragon form!
This one's mine! Time to shine! What was this? Lunar corruption! Don't mind if I do!
From beyond, imbue this vanquished with life! Resuscitation!
This one's all mine!
The power of light!
I'm ready to go!
Not today!
I'm ready to
Dragon
go!
form!
Prepare to be
Demon
seized!
Fang!
In a bind,
Explosive ring!
shield and face! Demon lash!
This one's mine!
Eagle wave!
Downfall!
Dragon
Catapult!
form!
Searing flame! Reload! Inferno crossing! Here! Damn it!
Demon
Out of
Fang!
there!
Explosive
Annihilation!
ring!
Mega Ray!
Dragon form!
Going in!
Oh, coño, que está borde de la muerte, ya le puta. Fuera, fuera, fuera.
Here's the evil! Freeze Laser!
You're mine! Dragon
Ready and ready! Denied!
This one's
Now
mine!
you see what I can do!
Make it
Oh,
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
Madre mía, qué loco. Uf.
How about it?
Toma, le hemos dado una paliza a esa cosa, la ha grabado. En efecto, es increíble que mi creación haya perdido. Me habéis dejado en vergüenza. A propósito, porque era un el Gangil. Ah, es verdad, no servíais a esos seres. Solo su aspecto físico se parece a ellos, su filosofía interna es totalmente distinta. Para que mi creación fuera más fuerte, tomé elementos del sobrestante y los combiné. Un momento, ¿usaste parte de Hebre para hacer esto? ¿Qué más da? Lo importante es que hemos ganado. Cosa que me parece estupenda, ya os he explicado qué es lo que pretendo en realidad. No entiendo a ese tipo. Gracias a vosotros ahora puedo examinar grabaciones muy valiosas. Ah, tengo una idea, ¿y si tomas elementos vuestros, sí? Olvídate. Una verdadera lástima, si cambiáis de idea no dudéis en avisarme. Va a ser que no, no señor. Como quieras, en cualquier caso os corono a todos campeones del vacío. ¿Campeones de él? ¿Vacío? Eso es, me parece un título apropiado por haber derrotado una creación mía. Soy una de las grandes mentes de Alphen y Shionne. Campeón del vacío, la verdad es que suena muy bien. Si te refieres a ti mismo así delante de gente, haré como que no te conozco. Pero claro, esto no puede quedar así. Volveré con una nueva creación para reclamar el título, podéis estar seguros. Inténtalo cuando quieras, estaremos esperándote. Sí, anda, la próxima la harás tú solo, ¿vale? Y con esto anuncio mi retirada. No soy el único que tiene asuntos con vosotros. Dinerito fresco hay ahí. Dame dinerito que necesito dinerito. Vale, le han dado bastante pH. Vamos por aquí. Vale, esta la vamos a terminar. Shionne, mi querida Shionne. Vamos a ir por aquí, 1200, venga, este mismo. Kisara. Por aquí arriba. Dualin. Vamos por aquí. Lau. 1560, voy a esperarme. Irimbel. Por aquí arriba.
I sense a poor soul who is in dire need.
Sounds like our cue to step in and help.
Joder, no subimos ni para tiros, colega.
Does anyone else think this may be just a bit
¿En serio
too tough for us?
otro de ese? Voy a descansar primero, capaya. Antes no he descansado, ¿eh?
Thanks for waiting. Eat as much.
Voy a guardar. Ah, ya están aquí. Yes. Supongo que os debo una explicación, que ojalá os hubiese informado antes y informarnos de qué exactamente. Dado que somos un grupo de científicos en Alphen y Shionne, hemos estado investigando y desarrollando ségoles por cuenta propia. Y por fin he completado el mío, un super ségole tan resistente como destructivo. Hay alguien más que afirma que su ségole es el más poderoso, para que lo sepas. Esos son falacias. La fuerza de mi ejemplar no tiene ni punto de comparación, por algo es un super ségole. Aunque no sabe hacer nada más que vencer a su objetivo, como si eso importara. Bueno, debido a un pequeño error de cálculo, el super ségole ha escapado. ¿Y dónde está? No me digas que en Dahna. Esa cosa tan peligrosa anda suelta. Os recuerdo que no solo es peligroso, como ya he dicho, es un super ségole, tan resistente como destructivo. No deberías jactarte de algo así. No obstante, he rastreado su trayectoria y parece que se encuentra en un lugar al que llamáis Lago de Adán. ¿Y quieres que lo exterminemos? Yes. Supongo que sí, aunque todavía no ha causado ningún daño. Pero vamos a ver. No podemos dejar que esa cosa campe a sus anchas. Estoy de acuerdo, es un riesgo importante.
Very nice.
Espero impaciente vuestro resultado. A fin de cuentas, se os considera los seres más fuertes de toda la humanidad. En efecto, así que no dudáis en derribarlo. Ah, debería mencionar que vuestro objetivo es básicamente 2 ségoles en uno, que os divirtáis. Qué bien, qué bonito.
Seriously, what do they take us for?
Vale, lo primero que voy a hacer...
Research subject.
A ver, mapa. Me voy a ir a algún sitio Por ejemplo, la Negis. Aquí creo que había para comprar, ¿no? Podemos ir aquí. Vamos a ir a comprar objetos que nos hacen falta. Yo no sé qué le pasa a mi móvil que no carga, tío. No carga apenas. Voy a tener que salirme de...
Just like everything else.
Vale, vamos para acá. A ver si tiene armas nuevas. Pues sí tiene armas nuevas. Uf, qué guapa, ¿no? La verdad es que el juego este tiene un follón de armas nuevas, ¿eh? Esta está guapa también, ¿eh? Vale, ¿qué necesito? Tubo de hierro. Ojo inquietante, garra mardita, comilla abrazada. Vale, supongo que esto será con los boss que matemos. Espiral monocroma. Qué guapo, tío. Están chulísimos, tío. Estos son los escudos. Vale, el Lordo Allen tendría este. Los guantes más guapos, ¿no? Vale, este tendría el libro este. No sé si esto será la última arma ya del juego. Haría falta vender cosas, tío, para coger dinero. Yo, 8000 y pico por esto. Vale, vamos a vender todo esto. A ver, que voy a comprar objetos. Me hace falta. A ver, jar de limón. Que me van a hacer falta un follón, tío. Sobre todo jar de naranja o jar... Es que los jales de pinas son súper caros, colega. Vamos a comprar unos 10, venga. Son 30.000 pavos, ¿eh? Vitales. Vale. Solo puedo llevar 15, creo, lo máximo, ¿no? Verde limón. Vale, por ahora sí está bien. Miguel ya está un pastón con la tontería, Vale. No sé si seguir con la historia, tío, o hacer algo de misiones secundarias por aquí. Porque es que no tenemos nivel para el monstruo final, ya lo digo yo claramente. Si estos monstruos de aquí tienen nivel 50 y pico, pues el monstruo final tendrá 60 y algo. Mi señor, ha llegado un mensaje de Notio. Dice que la boda se celebrará en el templo de León. Fantástico, gracias por avisarme. Por fin parece que nos vamos de boda. No se me ocurre mejor celebración que esta. Me alegro mucho por ello. Asiste a la boda.
Hey, Law. Been training?
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is bad, you should see the state of my underwear.
Yeah. A word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff around girls. Ones without a military history especially.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face? She'd have a nervous breakdown.
I meant in general, but you sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, you know, she's always there, even when you least expect it. Springs to mind easily.
Either that, or maybe some part of you is subconsciously always wishing she was there.
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women. Someone more like Kisara.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against. But come on, you've got to admit she can be a lot to handle.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Se ha cabreado,
What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back. Whew.
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a rival.
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Le damos gracias a las 6 personitas que estáis por aquí, se agradece. Vamos a dar la bienvenida como merecéis a todos.
Mis queridos amigos gordacos y gordacas, bienvenidos.
¡Me estás quitando la vida!
Curious, I guess. I mean,
¡Que te meto con la chancla, Joselillo!
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, if he'd been the way he is now back when I'd first met him, I probably wouldn't have gotten this involved. But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced these feelings, so... I guess it's complicated.
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but I know what it feels like to have someone you love who's out of reach.
Because of Miguel.
Pues por lo que veo, como me ha dicho Sampa, hoy no voy a terminar el juego. Me fuera gustado, pero voy a tener que subir yo de nivel de las sombras porque viendo los niveles que tienen los monstruos finales no llego, porque todo nivel 46 y no llego. Tiene nivel de 50 para arriba, por lo menos los monstruos finales tienen que tener 60 y algo seguro.
But I do remember back when we first met.
Sin que tendremos que hacer secundaria, pelear un poquito. Lo que haré es que la haré fuera de cámara. Jugaré un poco. Y intentaré subir de nivel lo máximo que pueda.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. Thank you. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides just touching.
I'll say, cooking immediately springs to mind. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind that you want to tell him, why not try appealing directly to his stomach?
You might just have a point. I'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us.
Well, friendship is about being supportive. Sometimes we just have to do our best and take one for the team, right?
Even after staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens tick.
Renan and Dahna are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden.
Estaremos por aquí, yo creo que media horita más.
That might be the case now.
A las 9:30. Y lo dejaremos aquí que quiero ver la serie. Para las 10.
Maybe. Question is that something still salvageable?
Vamos a ver si en esa media horita podemos hacer un par de secundaria.
No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path. That's not to say it'll be easy, but it will be worthwhile.
These things take time to... What the? An ambush?
Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of shot without thinking.
A bug? You mean like a Zoogle?
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than Menancia. In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they look.
La de Pasión de Gavilanes, esta que está sacada otra vez. Pasión de Gavilanes, que me acuerdo cuando era pequeño que la vi la original y no estoy viendo la cataleta. Bueno, serie, se considera una novela en verdad, pero más una serie, ¿no? ¿Quién no ha visto Pasión de Gavilanes? Bueno, si habrá gente que no la haya visto, pero casi todo el mundo la ha visto. Bueno, ya me deja de salir cosas, pues venga, vamos ya a hacer la misión. Vale, ¿dónde está la misión esa? Vale, tenemos que ir al templo. ¿Y por dónde coño entro por aquí por el templo? Por aquí, ¿no? Vale, vamos para acá.
Finally.
¿Era por aquí o era para atrás? Creo que era para atrás. Equivocado.
Only we could have flown with the
Era para atrás, sí.
wind to get here faster.
Whew. I don't sense any more enemies.
Lord Doalin, gracias por venir. Doalin, es este aquí, empezamos de inmediato. Todos están impacientes por escucharlo. Vaya, menuda reunión habéis organizado. Ahora sí que no puedo decepcionaros. Ejen, gracias a todos por estar aquí hoy. Me saltaré las formalidades y os rogaré vuestra bendición en este día tan feliz. Conocí a Noto y a su futura esposa Kagari cuando... Esto va para largo. Así que brindo por la eterna felicidad de esta pareja, así como por la paz y prosperidad de Dahna y Rena. Salud, mi gente. Salud. Ahora toca lanzar ramos de flores. ¿Sabes que Shionne dicen que si no coges el ramo de la novia te quedarás soltera el resto de tu vida? ¿En serio? Habéis estado cerca, más suerte la próxima vez. Nunca, ¿por qué? Un momento, algo no va bien. No he podido cogerlo, siempre estaré sola. ¿Cómo pude? Por favor, estoy muy sola. Ay, no, esto ya ha ocurrido antes, Alphen. Estoy sola, estoy tan sola. ¿Qué hago para hacer que despierte? Esta vez no hay espinas. Ya sé. ¿Alphen? Tío, no estás sola, me oyes. Todos nosotros estamos contigo, además, habrá muchos más ramos que coger. Como este. Así que no te hunda, ¿vale? No iremos en ninguna parte, sé fuerte, Shionne. Mira que eres bobo. No estoy mal por eso, te lo he dicho mil veces, deja de hacer el tonto. Pero no te voy a engañar, me siento mejor. Aunque tu ramo solo sea un arma que se llama así. Me alegro de que estés mejor. He hecho otro igual para que no seas la única persona que tiene uno. No dejas de asombrarme, Alphen, en serio. ¡Oh, le he mandado una arma nueva! Madre mía, no son grandes las armas de habilidades, copón. Filtración. Vamos a hacer por aquí abajo. Vale. Que lo mismo es una puta mierda de arma.
You've collected an awful lot of those objects. You sure it's not just junk?
Hush. Be quiet for a moment. The pieces speak to me.
What?
These relics that have scattered about. I can hear them whispering, longing to reunite with their lost friends and become one again.
Really? Do you hear any voices coming from them, Rinwell?
What? No! Don't get me wrong. I'm really interested in these things too, but I'm not crazy.
But don't you sometimes mutter stuff like, "Come to me, astral energy," when you cast your arts?
You're right. Oh my gosh. Are Dohalim and I actually alike?
Its charm really shines through now that it's been reassembled. Its streamlined shape, its geometric patterns. This is no mere amateur's work.
He's in his own little world at this point.
You get just like him when it comes to weapons, you know.
You're right. Oh my gosh. Am I just like Dohalim?
Huh? Why are you guys so quiet all of a sudden?
Feeling better now, Shionne?
Vale, esta acción facilita, no será tan difícil. A ver las armas que me han dado. Bueno. Mejor que la que tengo, ¿eh? Tiene como una especie de rosa en el centro, ¿eh? Está guapa. Eso sí, las armas del juego son una puta pasada. Hoja corta tartas. Vale, hoja corta tartas. Hoja corta tarta esta. Vale, le quitamos la coleta. Que sé que nos gusta que le quite la coleta a Shionne, pero vamos a llevar un ratillo, ¿no? Así, con el tocado este nuevo que tiene. Cambia un poco. Vale, y la otra que me han dado, ramo caritas. Este qué guapo, ¿no? Se ve rara sin el pelo así, pero también queda bien, ¿eh? Vale, pues vamos a continuar con algunas misioncillas más que haya por aquí. A ver, aquí creo que teníamos... Nos queda por aquí todavía muchas cosas que hacer, por ejemplo. Vamos a Mogul. Hacemos misiones así secundarias, nos van dando... nos van dando pues dinero, vamos subiendo de nivel y todo eso.
Do you sense one of your friends, Hoodle?
Ey, por aquí hay un puto búho, ¿dónde? ¿Dónde está el búho? ¿Dónde está el búho? Aquí o allí.
I never realized before just how hot this place is. It's like being inside a fire.
Sí, está guapa. Estos trajes me lo dieron en la ceremonia esa que celebraron.
The whole lack of sensory feedback situation.
That's the one. It's hard to believe I once worked in this soup, let alone helped spearhead a revolution.
And all with the mask concealing your face. It must have been very grimy beneath that.
Back then, we had our plates full enough dealing with constant abuse from our Renan overlords. It never occurred to me the air itself was oppressive in its own way. My head's spinning just with the effort it takes to walk.
I think that's called heat stroke. You might want to take a sip of water.
You mean that water that's been festering under the sun for days? I wouldn't chance it without boiling it first.
Oh, I know! I'll go to the dock and fetch us some clean water.
Water alone won't suffice. He'll need to ensure his sodium levels are replenished as well.
In that case, let's see if we can rustle up some rock salt. Alphen, you go cool off in the shade for a while. Shionne, stay and keep an eye on him.
And then there were two.
Bit of an overreaction, but it's still kind of them.
Maybe it's not the time, but this place brings back memories.
I know what you mean. We're back where it all started.
You don't ever regret meeting me sometimes, do you?
Are you kidding? You started all of this. Bringing down the wall, retrieving my sense of self. I have no regrets.
Welcome back, Law.
Puto Lau, que me ha cortado rollo. Vale. Este es el primer sitio del juego, ¿no? Donde empezamos, que yo recuerdo. Aquí hay una jalera. A ver si hay algo aquí arriba. Bueno, hay una mierda.
I feel like somebody's watching us.
Maybe there's someone...
Ah, hola, Flame. Hola, Cole, ¿qué pasa? No tienes buena cara. Me muero de hambre. Aunque los renados ya no estén, no tenemos comida suficiente. Qué mal, ¿no hay forma de traer comida de fuera? Lo hemos intentado, gracias a vuestro esfuerzo. Hemos establecido rutas comerciales y ahora llega algo de comida. Pero hay mucha gente en esta situación y no hay mucho con lo que comerciar en este reino. Sobre todo teniendo en cuenta que este reino es en su inmensa mayoría arena y rocas. Qué pena, ojalá pudiera hacer algo más. Aún hay esperanza. He oído que un mercader de Siloia está visitando el castillo de Granimer. ¿Podría explicar la situación? No hay problema, veremos qué tiene que decir. Mientras tanto toma este pan. Muchas gracias, ¿de dónde lo has sacado? Shionne es extremadamente previsora. Pongamos rumbo al castillo de Granimer. Conexión global. Vamos a estas misioncillas, pues vamos subiendo de nivel o vamos subiendo de dinero, que nos viene bien el dinero también. Vale. ¿Castillo de qué? ¿Y dónde coño está el castillo ese? No es. Bosque, lago, caverna. Aquí. Vale, no puedo hacer viaje rápido aquí ahora, tío. Tengo que ir al piso que... Al piso 3. Vale, ¿y dónde está el...? Está más para adelante, vale. Por aquí.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who are you looking at? Quit gawking and let's go.
Ow!
Pero si es nuestro amigo el cocinillas. Cocinilla. Esto lo he decido mucho aquí también, lo de cocinilla. Esta vez te tocaba Calaglia, ¿eh? Alphen, por fin te estaba esperando. Con Ali y conmigo no, ¿eh? Muy bonito. Tú no tienes buen paladar. ¿Qué pasa, Gordeno? ¿Has encontrado otra receta? Muy bien, al contrario, lamentablemente no encuentro nada de nada. En Calaglia no abundan las exquisitencias precisamente. Si ahora que lo dices, a mí tampoco se me ocurre nada. Quería llevarme algo, pero a este paso no sé qué voy a hacer. Oye, ¿por qué no preparas alguna cosa tú? ¿Qué? Por aquí aún hay alimentos que echarse a la boca. Improvisa algo bueno con lo que encuentres. En eso consiste la cocina, ¿no? Creía que tú lo sabrías mejor que nadie. Bueno, hay que tener valor para atreverse a darme lecciones de comida, jovencita. Pero si tienes toda la razón, no solo soy un experto en gastronomía, sino que también soy un excelente chef. Mira y aprender, pondré en práctica todos mis años de experiencia para elaborar el mejor plato que haya conocido esta tierra. Dudo que haya hecho algo más por sí mismo. Ah, sí, si tan seguro estás de tu talento, tendré que llevarme algo de eso a casa. Quiero ayudar. Esto atañe a Calaglia y me lo he tomado como algo personal. Será un placer. En ese caso, ¿podrías traerme un par de ingredientes de la zona? Cuenta con ello. Perfecto, aquí te espero. Siempre pidiendo cosas. Consigue trigo y consigue huevo. ¿Lo tendré? No. Trigo y huevo, tío. Si eso lo tenía antes. A ver. Coño. Tengo uno de trigo. Y huevo no tengo una mierda, ¿no? Huevo tengo 2. Necesitaré seguramente 3 de cada. Vale, ¿y ahora dónde cojones encuentro yo eso ahora? Jadmí. Verde naranja. Trigo y huevo, tío. ¿Esto no se puede comprar en algún sitio? A ver. Aquí no hay ningún mercader. Trigo y huevo. Trigo. Vamos aquí a por el trigo.
We've reached our destination.
Vale, el trigo estaba justamente aquí. Voy a tirar para abajo. Por aquí puede ser, ¿no? Por aquí creo que estaba así.
Isn't that what we were asked to find?
Finally.
Vale, necesito 6 de trigo, creo.
No choice.
Ya, que me vaya a durar más tanto, ¿eh?
I just let my instincts take over.
¿Cómo se nota ya el nivel, aquí, Vale, necesito 6 de trigo, 4 4 de 6, vale, más trigo. Tiene que haber un mercader que pueda yo... Aquí tiene que haber... Seguramente al mercader se le pueda comprar trigo y huevo.
You guys want to rest here?
¿Lo tiene, tío? ¿En serio? Vaya, hombre. Ahora no va a tener. Pues nada, seguir buscando trigo. Lo que sí puedo hacer es salir de esta zona, volver a entrar y se renovará el trigo, ¿no? Trigo y el huevo, ¿dónde coño estará? Carpa, trigo, aquí tenemos trigo, patata, trigo, seta, trigo, patata. Oye, el puto huevo, ¿dónde cojones lo encontramos? Aquí hay algo, ¿eh? Esto no lo he visto. Mira eso, a ver. Bueno, y hay un puto huevo por aquí, ¿no?
You sense one of your pals, Hoodle?
You guys want to rest here?
Vale, hemos dicho carpa, trigo, un poquito más para acá. Ya, estoy nivel 9, de una vez te le voy a matar.
Let's see what you've got.
Te da hostia, ¿eh?
Looks like it could be worth something.
Hey, I think that might be what we're looking for.
Vale, me faltan los huevos. ¿Dónde conseguimos los huevos, tío? Como el número de la gallina que tengo yo. A ver. Trigo, seta, trigo. Vamos a ir aquí, a esta zona. Por aquí, ¿no?
Out of my way! Dragon Swarm! The everlasting
Creo que hay un trofeo de pegar una hostia de 10.000. Aquí tiene 10.000. Aquí tiene que haber algo, ¿eh? Esto no lo he visto yo antes, esto es nuevo. Más adelante hay un par de células encerrados, los tenemos constantemente vigilados para que no escapen. Vale, pero no puedo pasar. Pues vale. Tarde o temprano seguramente sea alguna misión o algo eso. Consigue 6 huevos, tío. ¿Dónde coño estaban los huevos? Lo que voy a hacer... es poner gallinas que seguramente nos den huevos. No sé si nos darán pollo o nos darán huevos, ni idea.
You sense one of your pals, Hoodle?
Gestionar rancho. Ya se pueden crear animales nuevos. Rancho ampliado, vale. Criar. Enviar al establo. Vamos a meter... Rappi, ¿qué coño? Mi interés es natural con cuerpo de cerdo y orejas de conejo. Vamos a poner un pollo, a ver si... le metemos aquí esto. Este le metemos este. A este le metemos este. Y a este le metemos... 1, 2, 3. Este. No. Vale. Oír explicación. Proteger ganado. Vigilar. ¿Cuál es lo que tarda en dármelo? Aunque tiene que haber en algún sitio, tiene que haber huevos segurísimo. A ver. Lechuga. Tomate. Manzana. Tomate. Lechuga, patata. Voy a ir aquí a ver si este tiene algo. Posiblemente puede que tengan los que están más lejos.
You guys want to rest here?
Hey, Rinwell, tell me about your parents. What were they like?
They were kind. That's the part I like to remember. They could also be strict, though, especially when it came to magic. I never understood why I had to work so hard to learn magic. Why we couldn't just be done with it and live openly like everyone else. Needless to say, that didn't go over well. Of course, if I had known that one...
Same.
I know. Yeah.
You don't...
Not...
No cascáis nada, vi. Va a pasar todo esto rápido, ya me tiene hasta los huevos la mierda esta.
Maybe when it comes,
no se puede saltar, sí. A meter. Es que no vaya, vío. Todo el rato cascando. A ver. Trigo, lechuga. Mira, tiene huevo, coño. Vale, nos faltan son 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 y 6. Vale, ya tenemos los huevos, lo que nos pide. Vale, entrega la materia de Argumento. A ver si me acuerdo ahora dónde estaba el hombre este. Aquí, ¿no? Tengo que ir aquí y luego tengo que ir al piso 3. Lo que voy a hacer, chavales, es que voy a hacer yo las misiones secundarias que me quedan o algo de ellas en las sombras para que no sea muy pesado el juego. Y intentaré subir de nivel lo máximo que pueda, por lo menos a nivel 50 y pico por ahí más o menos. Voy a matar a los árboles que pueda y todo eso. Y luego ya por el siguiente directo que hagamos, seguiremos ya con la fase final del juego, porque así se nos hacen más o menos. Mañana traeremos el de Ruin si no pasa nada. Así que estáis invitados todos si queréis pasaros. Vale, vamos a darle los materiales al hombre este. Espérate, si voy yo ya a terminar ya, me voy contigo a sacarlo. ¿Tienes los ingredientes que te he pedido? Sí, está todo listo. Estupendo, mala la obra entonces. Con estos ingredientes y mis conocimientos prepararé un plato para chuparse los dedos. ¿Qué es? ¿Una especie de pan frito? A ver cómo sabe. Anda, qué rico está, les ha dado un buen uso a los ingredientes. En eso estamos de acuerdo, pero ¿no te parece que está un poco pastoso por dentro? Sí, además el pan frito no tiene nada de especial. Incluso con mi miel, mi nivel me temo que debo esforzarme más. El pan frito sigue estando pastoso. Un momento, ya sé. ¿Qué tal esto? Supone que son roscos. Sí, señor, me he inspirado en la arquitectura del castillo. Las llamo rosquillas de Ganymede. Voy a probar una. Esta es otra cosa, me pasaría el día saboreando esta textura crujiente. Y saben fenomenal, estoy en la gloria. No sabía que se podía preparar algo como esto en Calaglia. Me encanta que tiene una pinta tremenda, creo que podría venderlas. Excelente, me alegra saber que mi esfuerzo ha dado su fruto. Oye, ¿has pensado en venderlas? Podría llevar una tanda a Zillodia, será un éxito. Pues no es mala idea, la verdad. Después de preparar esto me he dado cuenta de una cosa. La cocina tiene el poder de hacer sonreír a las personas y quiero que todo el mundo pueda disfrutarla. Trato hecho. No hay manjar más exquisito que la alegría que infunde en tu corazón una buena comida. En eso consiste ser un gourmet. Sé exactamente a qué te refieres. Te enseñaré la receta de la rosquilla, lo mínimo que puedo hacer para darte las gracias. Gracias, Gordeno. Quiero preguntarte algo antes de que te vayas. ¿Qué te han parecido las rosquillas realmente? ¿Qué me ha parecido? Bueno, estaban absolutamente deliciosas. Y con esto mi aventura culinaria ha llegado a su fin. Vale, rosquillas de Ganymede. Vale, ahora hay que entregar la rosquilla al hombre este. Y terminamos ya la misión. Eran aquí. Y vamos a terminar esta misión, lo vamos a dejar aquí. Mañana volveremos con Elden Ring. A ver qué tal está, que voy a morir más que todo. Y seguiré yo este juego jugándolo a las sombras tranquilamente las secundarias que me quedan, subiendo de nivel y tal. Y ya el siguiente directo que vamos intentaré ya tirar para el final ya con un buen nivel que tengamos, porque me interesa más hacerlo de la sombra. Alfle ha vuelto. Sí, he traído comida, cojad lo que queráis. ¿Qué es? ¿Algún tipo de dulce? No te diré que no. ¡Hala! Está buenísimo. Sí, está muy rico. ¿De dónde lo has sacado? Las ha hecho un amigo en el castillo de Glanimed. Solo ha usado ingredientes de la zona. ¿De verdad se pueden hacer cosas tan ricas en Calaglia? Al mercader de Cirlodia también le gustaron. Creo que el comercio entre nuestros reinos va a repuntar gracias a esto. Sí, se venderán como churros. Qué bien, me alegra saber que podamos preparar cosas tan ricas incluso aquí. Supongo que ahora tendré que dejar de quejarme tanto. Quiero saber qué más podemos hacer aquí en Calaglia. Así podré devolverte el favor por el pan que me diste. Estoy deseando ver qué preparas. Vale, uniforme de empleado me han dado. Vale, dinerito fresco que nos viene muy bien.
We avoided getting roasted in that ring. But what we could really use.
Vale. A ver qué es lo que nos han dado. ¿Atuendo qué? ¿A quién ha sido el atuendo? Uniforme de... ¡Oh, tío, qué chulo! A ver, ¿se le puede poner a todos los uniformes? Ah, mira, pues este también le queda chulo, tío. A ver. Uf, pues te voy a ponérselo a esta, tío, que estoy harta de verla con el escudo, ¿eh? Voy a cambiárselo. ¿Le ponemos el sombrerito? Voy a poner el sombrero. Ya aparece otra, tío, con el... Vale, y a ella no sé si ponérselo, me mola como le queda, ¿eh? Voy a ponérselo. Le ponemos el pelo así largo, que queda más bonita. Con la trenza queda mejor, así. Ahí, ya, mira qué guapa está Shionne. A ver los duales. Qué chulo, tío. Y aquí. Y a ver, Rimback. Ah, no está mal, ¿eh? Me mola muchísimo, tío, los trajes de este juego. Mira qué chula está. Parece una colegiala. Vale, pues vamos a ir a alguna zona a guardar. Alguna zona que esté por aquí cerca para seguir con la misión. Por ejemplo, aquí. Voy a ir aquí. Se puede guardar si tenemos la posada, por ejemplo. Voy a guardar y lo vamos a dejar aquí ya. Directo. Lo primero que voy a hacer es descansar.
I feel like somebody's watching us.
Maybe there's someone around. Here who needs our help.
Vale, y vamos a guardar aquí. Lo voy a dejar aquí ya el directo. Voy a hacer lo que os he dicho, chicos. Voy a seguir con la secundaria yo tranquilamente. Es que tenemos nivel 46 y los boss tienen ya 50 y tanto. Y el boss final va a tener 60. Hay que subir de nivel sí o sí. Así que nos despedimos con Shionne aquí de empresaria, de uniforme. Así que bueno, chicos, gracias a esas 3 personitas que estéis aquí hasta el final. Gracias a todos los que habéis pasado, moderadores. Gracias por esos 12 o 13 likes por ahí, se agradece. Y bueno, gracias también a que se ha suscrito esta tarde alguien, se ha suscrito por aquí. Le damos la bienvenida al canal, si nos está viendo. Y lo dicho, pues mañana seguiremos con Elden Ring. Recordadlo, sobre las 6 de la tarde, las 7 ponemos manos, echaremos un vistacillo a ver qué tal está el juego, a ver si no me matan muchas veces. Y ya la semana que viene, el lunes seguiremos con el Horizon Forbidden West. Y el día siguiente intentaré seguir con este. Voy yo estos días a ver si puedo jugar a la sombra tranquilamente y subiendo de nivel poco a poco. Y traeremos este que quiero ver ya al final. Así que lo dicho, chavales, que tengáis muy buena tarde, muy buen día, muy buena noche, en mi caso desde España donde me estáis viendo. Y nos vemos aquí en el canal. Recordad que este fin de semana tendréis un unboxing de Elden Ring y de Tormented Soul. Así que si lo queréis ver, pues ya sabéis. Nos vemos, chavales. Hasta la otra.
No, I don't know why you're not fair. I gave you my love, you don't care. So what is right and what is wrong? Give me a sign.